What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Kofi Kingston, aka 1/3 of the New Day. You're not gonna say it with me, sir? Yeah, come on, you better participate. Let's try it again. 1/3 of the New Day, and you are watching The Young and the Wrestlers. Ha 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 ha.
Welcome to The Young and the Wrestlers, the Pop Culture's WWE podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Betson, alongside...
I'm as blissful as Alexa. I'm Jem.
Damn right she is. This is our Smackdown in review. It comes at you every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. on your podcast services, 9 a.m. on the YouTubes. If you want to join that wrestling conversation, head over to twitch.tv/thepopcultures where you can watch us record this show live. Get in the chats, give us your 2 cents on what happened this week in wrestling, or this episode of wrestling. With a bit of crap in my teeth. One thing we'd like you to do, if you were so kind, you could share this conversation. Tell your friends, tell your families about this little wrestling show. You know, maybe they'll find some fun in it. Who knows? And I know it's a rough time right now and it's a bit of scary, but if for some reason you felt ever so inclined, you can always support us financially at patreon.com/thepopculturist or our merchandise store at popculturist.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. Now, Jem, I have been talking to good friend of the show, James Perry from Pixel Beast. He is the lovely gentleman that has designed our merch in the past, and he and I were talking, and I'm like, Mr. Perry, we need some new shirts. We need some things with Jem on them. We need some things with Max on them. And he is like, I'm on it. So there will be some Jem merchandise very, very soon. Jem merchandise, as no one's calling it. But
yeah, well that's what. Yes, hashtag Jem merchandise.
Hashtag Jem merchandise.
I love that.
It's not going to take off, but
100% it is.
Oh yeah, well the merch will sell well. We put you on there. It's just going to do wonders.
It's like me with with genital piercings. I'm hashtag genital piercings.
Hashtag genital piercings. I think
it's like fetch. It'll catch on.
Yeah. Like, not enough people use fetch. All right, so I'm just saying. But actually, Jem. Okay, no, I can't even be mad at that. Merch Jem dice. You idiot, says Craig. So I think merch Jem dice may actually be better.
That's good.
It is much better. I'm just a moron. But anyway, Jem, how you been? Like, so we didn't do a Raw last week because your internet has been hot garbage.
So it was the same today. The best I could muster was like a highlights YouTube video because I can't watch the show. I just can't watch it. The internet's that jacked. So. Yeah, other than that, I had a bit of an off week last week. It was just a bit of all over the place. But I've started my week strong. I've had a really good day today. I've done a lot. So I'm ready to go to bed. Get through this show.
That's it. We'll do our very best to get through SmackDown.
Nah, I'm good.
Not a whole lot fucking happened. However, we will back end the show as we always do with our good dirt sheet. A good friend Dash is gathering some the news. Now, once again, a lot of it may in fact be old news, but because we missed Raw last week, we will touch upon some news that we missed, just in order to keep relevant and keep the things that have happened. But I'm doing well, Jem.
Apparently we're going to back-end Dash.
Damn right I'm going to back-end Dash. That's 100% going to happen. Back it up, Dash. But no, look, I've been doing well, Jem, as well. I've been doing good. As you can see by the less shadows of chins in my front area, I've lost a little bit more of the pudge since last week's show, so I am now 8.1 kilos down. Yay. Thank you to the Manshake hashtag not sponsored yet. Funny that, because so Paris, my colleague at work's now on it because he's seen the results and he likes it. Yeah. Craig, as our good friend Craig, the Mullet Show, has been doing it for a little while. I'm not sure what his current weight loss was, but as you mentioned last week, it was 16.5 kilos. So I believe that may have increased again. Josh, ex-co-host of For the Players, Pop Culturist co-founder, has recently jumped on board as well. I was talking to him today about it, and he's like,
That's awesome.
wait, so I explain what it is, and then next thing he runs over to the shop and he sends me a photo of him buying the sampler pack. I'm like, oh, fucking Josh.
Heck yeah.
That's right. So hashtag influencer, this
Yes.
guy telling people to drink Manshake. So Manshake, if you're not listening, does good.
You mean if you are listening?
No, I presume they're not. I'm pretty confident that they're not. But that's fine. Anyways, Jem, let's talk about some wrestling. One thing we need to address here that we didn't address because, as we said, no Raw show last week, they've changed the setup. Mm-hmm. It's different. It's same, but different, but still same. So, once again, because they did this for Raw last week, which we missed because we didn't do a show. They have rejiggered the setup. So, hard cam has gone from the right side of the ring. It is now down the middle, so you look straight up at the ramp, which is a much better angle, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to really not showcase an empty arena. They've replaced a lot of the empty chairs with cool LED boards to give a bit more of an oomph, a bit more of a pop, a bit more of a visual appeal. What do you think of these aesthetic changes, Jem?
It makes a huge difference. It really does, because it was very obvious that it was an empty arena, and now it just feels less empty. There feels like there's less like dead space.
Yeah, and like although it was a cool novelty to have those empty chairs, I do feel that like giving a bit more.
It's a novelty that wore off for a Chris.
Yeah, it wore without the energy of like Triple H and commentary and stuff. That energy was really gone really quickly. Mad Dog's here in the chat. He goes, "Hey everyone, hope everyone is doing well in our current situation. We're doing our best.
Yeah.
Just like everyone, I think we're doing our very best." But yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it's a good idea. Moving the hard cam specifically, because there's nothing wrong with, like having a good background of like whether it be big WrestleMania logo, whether it's the Raw or SmackDown logo, it's there, or whether it's their entrance Titantron. It's all good look. It's all good looking when you got that hard cam on there. So the episode did kick off, Jem, as it did. It kicked off with Sasha and Bayley coming down to the ring. So they they came to address their WrestleMania nightmare.
Yes.
Thanks to the hands of Paige last week, announcing the Fatal 6-Way, which has since been changed to a Fatal 5-Way. Oh, sorry, 6-pack challenge to a Fatal 5-Way because Dana Brooke is in fact quarantined.
Oh, you're kidding.
I don't know whether Dash was going to bring that up in the news, but that is correct. Both her and Rey Mysterio have been put into forced isolation over potential Voldemort virus concerns.
Oh no, I had no idea. That's scary for them.
It is a bit, yeah.
Yeah, that's so scary.
But so that does mean that it does drop down to 5. Still cool though. So they walk out there sort of talking about how this bullshit that Paige has put on them. And I'm gonna put it out there. Even like in an empty arena, I just don't believe a thing that Bayley's saying.
No, not at all. She's really not at all convincing.
No.
Like there's no passion behind her words. Like it really does not. She's gotten complacent as a champion. 100%. There's no passion. There's no fire behind it. It's just all about like shit talking other people and like, I'm better than you, but you're not doing anything. The only reason you're better is because you're, either getting help or just not fighting.
Yeah, and that's something that we sort of saw here as well. Sasha being there alongside and her being part of this now Fatal 5-Way. Like there are these concerns that, what if Bayley gets taken out early and Sasha comes out the victor?
Yeah, exactly right. Which is likely to happen. I mean, obviously, like during this whole exchange, we do see Lacey Evans comes out. Then Naomi follows quickly, and they seem to be like in cahoots. They're just like, Naomi's like, I agree with what Lacey has to say.
I think it's more of like an enemy of my enemy is my friend sort of thing. Yeah,
exactly right. And then Tamina comes out, and like it's very clear that Tamina's all for herself. But yeah, it's very interesting. It's gonna be really interesting to see how it goes. Whether it's gonna be like Tamina versus the world, or if it's gonna be like Tamina, Naomi, and Lacey gang up on Bayley and Sasha to try and get them out of the picture quickly. Like, who knows? I feel like it could be anywhere. I mean, as Sasha and Bayley were running away, because, like, it looked like Tamina was going to attack them, but she didn't because they bailed. They were, like, talking about how good she looks and this, that, and the other. So, like, it feels like they're trying to, like, sweeten the deal there so that they don't get their asses handed to them by her.
Oh, I don't think they'll get their ass handed to them by her.
Yeah, no.
I think they'll get their ass handed to them by the return of Nia Jax.
Ooh, that.
Yeah,
yes.
that's it. That's your next big feud right there.
Yeah, because it'll be, a year since she's been in the ring. So.
Yeah, man. That's it.
That would be
Nia
so
Jax
good.
recovering from 2 meniscuses surgeries. She's gonna come back and punch some fucking face.
No, now that you mention that, I could see that happening. Is like, Paige shows up and even says, actually, this is still a 6-pack challenge. One person can't be here, but this person can. And it'll basically be like a 2-on-2-and-2, I reckon. Because Lacey and Naomi will have no choice but to, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Or even that, in any sort of multi-man, multi-woman match, no DQ. So even though Nia Jax may not be competing, she can still come in and just cause a bunch of ruckus. And like, I don't see Tamina coming out champion, but I do think she could really cause some problems, which will either way cost Bayley the win.
Yeah, and I 100% see Bayley going first. I reckon she'll be... Oh, it's not an elimination anymore, is it?
I don't believe so, no.
Never mind then.
Maybe. No, it might still be elimination.
It might still be. I can't remember what they said.
Me either. But,
I feel like they said it might still be.
The segment overall was kind of, I didn't really feel it until Tamina come in and just fucking kicked everyone, and that part I really enjoyed. Other than that, it was kind of meh. So we do have one more episode of SmackDown before we get to WrestleMania. So, what do you think that we're going to see additionally to this current setup with the SmackDown title, women's title picture? Like, are we going to see like some sort of 3-on-3, or at least, some sort of triple threat?
Possibly. Very possibly. I'm not 100% sure. I feel like Tamina needs an establishing match before WrestleMania to...
Well, we haven't seen her since Nia Jax went out.
Exactly right. Oh, we saw her run around after the 24/7 championship for a little bit.
But that doesn't really count.
Yeah, but no, we haven't seen Tamina in a while, so I feel like she'll need to have an establishing match just to, make it more, like, not just thrown in there, I guess. But yeah, I reckon that's probably what will happen next week, and then there'll be some interference by everybody. I don't see much happening before WrestleMania, though. They need to, take it easy for the big match.
Well, with this being the second last episode of SmackDown before WrestleMania, a bunch of matches got announced. So
yes,
we now have Dolph Ziggler versus Otis at WrestleMania.
Yes.
So Otis having his first singles match on the main roster against Dolph. You want to run with this one, Jeb?
Sorry?
You want to run with this one? Let us know what went down.
So it was really interesting. Obviously, we see Dolph backstage, and then like Otis and Tucker come running up, and they're being held back by trainers and other staff, and Dolph and Otis are yelling at each other. I can't remember what was said, but basically Dolph's just like, you, me, WrestleMania, essentially. Which I was like, hell freaking yes, like let's do this. And then a little bit later, he's talking to Sonya Deville, and Mandy comes up. She's like, hey, can I talk to Dolph for a second? And Sonya's like, yeah. And she's just like, why'd you do that? Like, why'd you have to provoke him like that? Which I think is a valid question. Now, I will be honest, I didn't catch all of this just because all right. Again, like I said, I saw a highlight reel. So if I'm missing anything, please fill in.
But that's pretty much how it went down. So, like, they were talking about, look, it's pretty much gone to everything as we planned it, which I'm like, ew. Yeah, and then... so
there was I missed that. So there was the realization that Sonya had planned it with Dolph.
Yeah, it looks as if there was a little bit of sneak on them. So, like, this is what we're planning to deliver.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then they, as I said, it pretty much went down as the rest of that. Sonya points out the pink headband that he was wearing, being like, why are you wearing a pink headband? What's with that? He's like, I don't worry about this. It's fine.
Yeah, I heard her say your hair's greasy, and I was like, oi, tell him.
But yeah, so we're going to see probably a very emotionally charged Otis ahead of
100%.
WrestleMania to get his hands on Dolph Ziggler.
I definitely think that we're gonna get the revelation. I think that, you know, somehow, either via recording or something like that, I don't know. I think that at WrestleMania, Otis is gonna have some sort of evidence that it was all a setup, because obviously we saw him a couple of weeks ago sneaking around watching Mandy. So,
but at the same time, like, what is that going to prove? Because as Mandy mentioned herself, she doesn't like the idea of them fighting over her like she's some sort of prize.
yeah.
So
that's true.
what? Even if they discovered that this was all this big ruse, like, does that mean Mandy will be like, "Oh, Dolph, you piece of shit! I don't want nothing to do with that," you know? Or maybe it goes the other way. She's like, "That's you're both horrible. I'm not being with either of you."
Yeah, exactly right. It's really hard to say how it's going to go. I'll be interested to see, but I feel like I feel like Mandy's going to find out the truth before the WrestleMania match.
Let us know in chat how you think this will go. Will go. So this has been one of like the longest running sort of prominent feuds in WrestleMania in WWE at the moment. I do feel it's coming to a fizzle, so I do wonder how this match is going to go ahead of WrestleMania. Like, as it stands right now, it is a standard stipulation. It's just a regular old match.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see, you know, Otis on his own on the grander stage of the.
Because that is that one thing. He has always had Tucker with him. They've always been that pairing. So I do wonder how he will go by himself, especially like a veteran like Dolph Ziggler.
Dolph Ziggler, yeah.
You know, it's one of those things of, although Otis can put a big punch, he's got to catch him first.
Yeah, exactly right. And Dolph has, like you said, he's a veteran. He has a lot of those like old school tricks up his sleeve, and he's gonna know a few things, and he's gonna be able to get around a bit better for sure. But yeah, I don't know, you know.
Because on top of that, we saw exactly like at Elimination Chamber, like Otis went to get him and he just stepped out of the way. Like, so the speed that Dolph possesses will be a massive disadvantage to Otis. Yeah, so I do wonder how this is going to go. And it's one of those things like, if Otis wins, it's one of those things, if Otis wins, then what?
I think for Otis, it'll just be like, you know, I am the better man, and I can. So
just like vindication, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I can see the vindication is a good. Yeah. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Let's move it on. So speaking of this, you know, this match being a no stipulation match, nothing crazy going on with it. We have heard a little bit different about something. Firefly Funhouse. So a great little bit with Bray Wyatt discussing about the match with John Cena at WrestleMania 30.
30, yeah, I think it was.
And he talks about how, you know, he has had to like do some shit to get ready for this match, including making this like new drink. It's this like protein shake that's built up of like rage, self-loathing, rage and resentment, mixed with a bit of rambling rabbit
and a carrot, so you can see John Cena.
Oh, that was very clever.
That was great. That was the best thing.
But in short, he offers a challenge. That challenge being Fiend versus John Cena in a Firefly Funhouse match. Very similar to the AJ Styles Undertaker Boneyard match.
Yeah.
We don't know what this means.
How it is, yeah.
So I wonder, with WrestleMania being pre-taped for obviously safe reasons, I presume they're doing some cool sets. I'd like to think they're doing some cool sets. Do you think we are going to have an awesomely decorated Firefly Funhouse?
I hope so. All I can think about right now is the word boneyard match. And I'm like, are they in a porno? Sorry.
Sounds hot.
Anyway, yeah, it sounds really like I'd pay to see that. Yeah, no, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Like, Funhouse, like, I'm assuming, like, somehow, like, Abby the Witch is going to be involved, and Rambling Rabbit will be there somehow. I honestly think, like, if there's going to be this sort of involvement, I definitely think the Rambling Rabbit's going to try and try and help John Cena somehow. I don't know how, but I feel like he's going to. And The Fiend's just going to tear him apart as he does. That'll be cool to see that happen live. But yeah, I don't know what to expect.
So Craig from the Mild Show added that in regards to the Boneyard match, the one thing it won't be in the current climate is a graveyard. So it won't be a graveyard match. I presume it won't be a buried alive match because that'll be some bit uncomfortable. Possibly. Like maybe it's I'm trying to think of what was it in The Lion King, the elephant graveyard, just fucking bones everywhere. Like they fight inside a mammoth's head skull. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I doubt it'd be that dumb, but it's very possible that it may in fact be that dumb.
I have no idea.
Oh, excuse me for the big old yawn.
It could be. I was just thinking, like, Boneyard, generally they're known as disheveled places with shit just thrown everywhere. It could just be a case of that, weapons just fucking slung everywhere like a dirty floor. They can just pick up what they want and go ham. Who knows? Yeah,
are we going to see, like, some sort of caveman match and they've got, like, big bones and just busting each other in the head?
Yeah.
I presume it's the safe way of saying graveyard. That's what I expect. Some sort of cemetery-esque match.
Yeah.
But even then, the aesthetically, I know we're getting off SmackDown here, but it's only because we haven't spoken about it. Like, aesthetically, The Undertaker has almost returned to his American Badass.
I noticed that. I did see that, and I was like, really?
So maybe we're going to get some sort of, like, bikey car park sort of setup. No worries, Jacob. Thank you for stopping by, mate.
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe it's some sort of biker car park setup.
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows? But Firefly Funhouse, I'm hoping that they're essentially fighting a bouncy castle. That's all I want to see.
That would be so cool. Bouncy castle match.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
That would be fantastic.
If
just
we're at
trampolines everywhere.
Birthday, I'm going to hire
Go ahead.
Bouncy castle.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I was going to say, for my birthday, I'm going to hire a bouncy castle and we're going to have fucking, like, sanctioned matches in it.
And, trampolines everywhere, which, of course, will make ScoMo really mad because, he doesn't like those trampoline venues. But, yeah, there's ball pits, there's big bouncy castle, other fun housey sort of things.
Yeah.
Craig
almost like a carnival. Like, could you imagine if it was like a horror house, like carnival thing, and they're fighting through the House of Horrors or whatever? That would be
awesome. So Craig also adds, "This needs to happen now."
Right.
Yeah, this needs to happen immediately. And I'm very down with that. Another WrestleMania match that we heard about last week, but it looked like it's really definitely happening, is King Corbin versus Elias. So here we see Elias standing in the upper stage area that we saw Triple H deliver that awesome little promo the other week. Singing a song about Elias. About Corbin. Corbin comes up and fucking, speaking of Lion King, just fucking throws him off. It's like,
absolutely vicious.
Long live the king, and just fucking pegs him off.
Man, I don't know if Elias is going to make it to WrestleMania after that one.
It's kind of a pretty hard attempted motor.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was full on. Like, Elias was hanging on for dear life for a while there, and then just boop,
dead.
Dead. My cousin Riri, boop, dead. I love dodgeball so much. That was. I was not expecting it. I gasped. I was literally like. As soon as he went flying, and then all I could think was like,
It's like the scene with Gruber in Die Hard,
Yeah, exactly right. But no, it was. I don't know. I'm excited for this match because I'm always excited to see Elias in the ring. But yeah, that was vicious. That big old for Sparta.
Big old Spartan boss.
Yeah, Spartan.
Yeah, look, it's a match that I don't really care about. I don't really care who wins. I don't really care how it's going to go. Especially with Corbin following up his WrestleMania moment last year of retiring Kurt Angle. It's one of those situations of like, and you're following up with Elias.
This, yeah.
Bit rough.
I know. I'm excited to see it just because it'll be something different.
Yeah, like there's no stipulations. There's nothing crazy about it. It's just a regular match, but it should be right.
Yeah.
Although no stipulation, this match would have been will. So it looks as if Daniel Bryan will in fact be getting an IC title shot against Sami Zayn at WrestleMania after Drew Gulak beat Shinsuke Nakamura this week.
Yeah. So again, Sami Zayn on commentary, phenomenal. I have so much love for Sami Zayn. He is so good at being on the microphone, which is awesome. But yeah, I love that, like, you know, Sami Zayn does all this shady shit, and then once Daniel Bryan gets involved and helps Drew Gulak, he's like, referee, where? It's like, bro, you do this all the time. Like,
I know.
you can't have your cake and eat it too. Like, pull your head in. But yeah, it was a good match. It was good to see Drew Gulak in the ring. You know, Daniel Bryan egging him on, which was awesome. But yeah, like, I don't know. This'll be a good one. I definitely see Daniel Bryan walking out with the title.
Me too. I do think Sammy will employ some incredibly dirty tactics, but I think Daniel Bryan will come out the victor because of it.
And I don't think it'll be like a clean victory for Daniel Bryan either. I think Drew Gulak is going to assist in the win, and then Drew's going to be like, well, I helped you. The least you can do is give me a title match.
Whoa. All right.
It's going to go.
All right. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. That's a really cool idea.
I have good thoughts sometimes.
Most time. Most time they're pretty good. There's a couple duds here and there, as always, but like statistically, it's very high.
Yeah.
Very high good thought. Good to shit thought ratio. Let me have a quick squiz at this again. Yeah. Okay, yeah, Daniel Bryan, Sami Zayn. We got to see 45 minutes of, well, felt like anyway, Triple H versus Roman Reigns from WrestleMania 31.
Yeah, it was nice, filled out the show nicely. I got to get up, go to the toilet, leave the house for an hour, come back, and it was still going.
Yeah, I just fast forwarded. I was like, and like that's the bit, because I was watching this while editing a video on Saturday, and I was like, okay, cool, I'll come back to this, and then I never did. Because I was watching it live, so I was like, all right, and then I just kind of wandered off a little bit. Yeah. I tallied my way out of that episode of.
Yeah.
You know,
Don't forget to burn it out.
So got high and just sort of wandered off.
Yeah.
But that does come into. Oh no, we'll make that. Oh no, it won't be last. Then that to mention of the Roman Reigns versus Triple H. We then get Triple H having a chat to Michael Cole because he's one of the only few people to fight both Roman Reigns and Goldberg, so he delivers a little bit of information about how it's going to go. Talks about,
and I was very interested to hear it because, like you were about to say, like he talks about how like Goldberg goes hard fast. If it's a short match, Goldberg's, you know, he's gunning for it, he's got it. But Roman Reigns has that stamina. Roman Reigns can go longer, he can do longer matches, and Triple H thinks that Roman Reigns is going to drag this match out, wear Goldberg down, and Roman Reigns is walking out with that title, and Triple H couldn't agree more.
Craig goes, Dilberg? Oh, Gilbert?
Dilberg, yeah, I remember Dilberg.
It's Gilberg, I said it wrong.
Oh, Gilberg.
Sanvi says Goldberg was 40 years old like 20 years ago. He's like 100.
Yeah, I know.
He's like so fucking old. But yeah, they talk about how like depending on the length of the matches, how we'll see a different outcome. And I agree with that because Goldberg, you know, we saw this as Super Showdown getting the win over Fiend.
Yes.
Very, very quickly, and then if you look back at old footage of his streak, you know, a lot of those matches went the same way, very, very fast.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't have the stamina he used to.
Yeah, but I believe actually we'll get to that in the dirt sheet. There's something that I know Dash would have mentioned in the dirt sheet, but we'll wait to get to that. But before we do that, though, Sanvi also adds now he is just Oldberg.
Oh, I love that, Oldberg. I love that so much. He really is.
I did not miss your great joke, Sanvi. I meant to. I closed the Roman Reigns Goldberg segment with it, my man. I was building it up. I saw it. I'm like, ooh, I'm going to hold on
That's
to
a
that one.
perfect way to transition.
That's
for sure.
right. I'm going to transition here. Kabuki Warriors versus Twisted Sisters.
Fucking Asuka, man. She's such a kook. Nikki Cross on commentary was annoying as shit, but
Yeah, you
great
feel
at
for
the
me.
same time. He's like, what's wrong with you? And she's like, I had a lot of caffeine. Like, just shut up, Michael Cole. Enjoy. Really good match. I love seeing Asuka. I love that she was taking the piss out of Nikki Cross while she was at it. Like, she's just so much fun to watch in the ring. But yeah, we will be seeing Alexa and Nikki take on the Kabuki Warriors at WrestleMania. So I guess this was just like a little showcase match, which was awesome. It was a really, really good match.
So we have a quick glance at the. Sorry, I have a quick sneaky glance at the dirt sheet. But yeah, look, the match was all right. You know, because this was Alexa versus Asuka.
just Alexa
so it
versus
wasn't the full tag match that we will see at WrestleMania.
Yeah, which was nice. I hate seeing the same thing week after week. Like, give me something.
So does that mean next week when I see a Nikki versus Kyrie, is that what they're going for here?
Possibly, who knows?
Lame. Don't want to see it.
Yeah.
But one thing I did want to see, and I'm so glad that I did, was the final match of the night. The New Day versus Uso. New Day versus Usos. Fucking awesome. The energy on it was so good. They were just ripping on each other the whole way through.
Miz and Morrison. Look, my favourite part of this, and I'm not going to lie, was Miz and Morrison on commentary. Sitting there chanting, yelling at them. Like, it was just... They did it so well. Like, you know, they're sitting there like, ooh, so...
I really enjoyed them. I said that the New Day sorted their opening with Big E yelling his lungs out.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know what?
Kofi was in the ring doing the New Day Rocks thing. Nah.
And then Morrison gets a pancake to the face.
Oh, yeah, that was great. Now, I missed entirely what happened, but I know at some point Miz and Morrison got their asses handed to them because they were all lying on the floor near the announce table.
That is correct. What a bit of dirty involvement there. One thing I did enjoy as well, like at one point the Usos kind of duck out and Miz and Morrison are like, what are you doing, Uso? Get in the ring. It's not time for a rest. Get in. I really enjoyed that. It was so good. But look, it did end in a DQ win to the New Day as Miz and Morrison get the jump on them. However, that does result in a triple threat match at WrestleMania. Not just any fucking triple threat match, Jem. A ladder match.
I did see
I
that.
don't know about you, but I
Cole's
got all kinds of damp really fast when I heard that.
Yeah. Because Michael Cole's like, you're not facing the Usos or the New Day. You're facing the Usos and the New Day in a ladder match.
Yeah!
Hell freaking yes. Like, they are throwing everything at Miz and Morrison, and I love it.
Yeah, they had like
First
a chamber
was the
match.
Elimination Chamber. Now it's this. Like, I love it. It's
so
going to be
good.
interesting to see the outcome. I honestly reckon Miz and Morrison will walk out with the title still.
Nah, give it to, I think, the Usos.
Well, we'll see.
I think the Usos.
Yeah.
Because that ties both Usos and the New Day at 7 championship wins apiece.
That's true.
And that's
very
I'm
true.
positive that's where it's going. Like there's the rumble between the two of them.
Forgot about that.
Because if the New Day get the win, that bumps them to 8, and it's like, eat a dick, we're 2 ahead of you now. And then if if Usos come out the win,
that power balance, that battle balance. Yeah.
Now, granted, the only way that for the Usos to then match the 7 would be for them to lose it again and then get it back. So it's more of a, in order to beat the 7, so they could be both sitting at 7, and then that adds a little bit of fun to it as well.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, I'm super excited to see that match. I think.
Yeah, it should be a good one for sure.
Yeah, Usos go hard every time. I love the Usos, and I'm so glad they're back.
100%.
And I think they will do brilliant. And as they mentioned, every time the Usos and the New Day get together, it is a banger.
It's always
an absolute banger.
Yeah. 100%.
But Jem, that does bring us to the end of the SmackDown chatting part of the show. How do you think it went this week?
Look, it was a bit hit and miss. I'm just gonna give it a bar.
I'm in the same boat. Like, the problem that I'm having is when you go over and you watch AEW and you see how they are handling these empty arena shows, and then you see WWE, it's like, I don't know what it is. They are just doing it wrong.
Yeah.
There's WWE are doing something. The difference here is they're almost treating like each feud, like the feuds cannot combine.
Yeah.
So like they only have in the arena whoever is involved in said feud. If you go over to AEW, you see the other wrestlers ringside. You see them joking around, dicking about.
Yeah.
Like you see like this camaraderie amongst everyone. Granted, it's heels on one side, faces on the other, but like there is this collective feel that all these people are part of the same
Everyone's
space.
involved. Yes,
Everyone's
exactly
involved. But now instead we're just getting just this person, just that person.
Yeah, definitely feels very segregated.
Yeah, it's a little bit shit. Now I also understand WWE work with a larger team, so I understand their restrictions on having all big in-depth moments, but that's fine. Could be worse. Could totally be worse.
Yep, exactly right.
But let's get into the last part of the show, Jem. This is where our good friend Dash Gamer. A good friend Dash gives us the internets. He goes to the internets. He finds all the bits of information that you need to know about to get that dirt sheet.
He really is a dashing man.
He's a dashing man, and he knows how to get the dirt. So let's kick things off with the thing that I alluded to that didn't make the dirt sheet, and that is Jem. Roman Reigns has been forced to step aside his Universal Championship match at WrestleMania because under the current Voldemort virus, he is of a concern because of his
he'd be a health risk because of the leukemia.
Because of his leukemia last year, he is in fact immunocompromised, and it's within within the best thing for him, best interest to not compete, and I agree with him.
Yep, I couldn't agree more.
So as it stands right now, there is a bit of rumor mill about who's going to get this opportunity. Braun Strowman is the number one coming into this, which I'm pretty excited about.
Which he friggin' deserves because he got robbed of that Universal.
He is probably one of the only competitors to have the most shots at the Universal title or the WWE Championship.
And his IC title run was just absolute trash.
Yeah.
He should have gotten better out of that. So I definitely think that this would probably be a better situation to put him in.
Because my understanding here is that Goldberg has to lose the belt. The difficulty around this, it has to change hands, and then on top of that, once this all goes back to normal, because my prediction as well is that WWE will go quiet post Mania. Like the only reason they're going so hard now is in order to get to Mania, and once they get there, they'll be like, okay, that's hiatus until everything kind of clears up. I think
we're going into stage 3 quarantine. So.
Yeah, here in Victoria.
It's getting crazy.
So my prediction, Braun Strowman does get involved, takes that win, because I would love to see Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I reckon that would be perfect.
That'd be very.
And you know what I'd love? To see Braun Strowman keep it over Roman Reigns.
Oh, it's not going to happen, but I would love it. It'd be so good.
Yeah, I would froth that so hard.
So, Jem, the first bit of news on the dirt sheet today is, funny enough, the Boneyard match. During his recent Mixer stream, AJ Styles discussed his Boneyard match against The Undertaker at WrestleMania 36. Here is what Styles said, courtesy of Fightful.com. This is all one giant quote. What the heck is a boneyard match? Even I was wondering what a boneyard match is. Under the circumstances, I think there's a reason it's called a boneyard match. We didn't want to say cemetery, graveyard. Let's tread delicately on this. Everything that's going on, it sucks. It's a combination of things you thought it was. Most likely it's going to be... I lost my spot. As it sucked, it's a combination of things you thought it was. Most likely, it's going to be different. I don't want to take my opportunity, take my opponent, The Undertaker, because it's an opportunity to have a different match. I don't want to have it in an empty arena. You guys are the lifeblood of what we do. We react to it. It's all about you. I wouldn't be anything without you, but we know how to react based on how you react. All this stuff matters. I feel for the guys who have had to have these matches. Essentially saying it's a graveyard match. It's a possible buried alive match, but yeah.
Yeah, they don't, obviously with
Thank you, Craig.
The whole of coronavirus and stuff like that, they're treading lightly with their wording.
And it's understandable. Craig also called that as well. You know, he's not wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, it's a good way to get around it. Graveyard match does seem scary, so I understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next, we get Becky having a discussion about Mania with no fans. In an interview with ESPN.com, ESPN.com's Ariel Helwani, Becky Lynch discussed WrestleMania 36 taking place at the Performance Center with no fans. Quote, I'm somebody who has fed off the energy of the crowd so much, and it's been my connection with the crowd that has gotten me to where I am now. And I know that without these people, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. You're not going to get the same gratification that you go out in front of an audience and they let you know how well you are doing and how well you're not doing. And they're responding to you constantly. There's less self-gratification, but more concentration of the nuances and what your message is. Why do I want people to care about what I'm going to mess Shayna Baszler up so much? So in other words, she's saying that she's going to need to go hard in order to, demonstrate that, which is fun.
Yeah, it's definitely harder because, like AJ said it, they use the crowd to react. They know what to do and how to do it based on the reactions of us, the universe. So not having that there, it really does make it harder to gauge where to go and what to do. And you do have to work harder to achieve that goal of, getting your message across. And it really is, coming back to that whole storytelling in the ring. Like, they've really got to tell their stories with their fighting now and not so much with their crowd reactions.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, more cancelled matches for WrestleMania. Dave Meltzer commented on WWE continuing to advertise matches for WrestleMania 36 that reportedly did not take place when WrestleMania was taped during this week. In a tweet to Meltzer, user Win Etheridge asked, quote, any idea when they will start acknowledging that the card has changed? Since it's already taped, why are they still promoting matches that won't take place? Meltzer responded, that's not a good look at all. But remember that they feel they have the right to false advertise. Yeah. This was a follow-up to WrestleMania Talk's news tweet that Meltzer denies. At WrestleTalk TV stated, quote, surprise, surprise, it has emerged that Vince McMahon was the only person within the WWE who wanted WrestleMania to take place at the Performance Center with no fans. Meltzer defended McMahon, stating, quote, I can only say this. While the majority of those I've talked with did not want Mania to take place the way it did, I know of different people who did agree with him. It was Vince's call, of course, but the idea nobody agreed with him is false.
Yeah, interesting.
It's interesting. It is an interesting idea, though, that they're advertising matches we know won't happen, like Roman Reigns versus Goldberg. What's your thoughts on this, Jem? What's the deal?
It's a tricky situation to be in. It's a really tricky situation to be in. I don't know. It's going to be hard because if they are... I don't know. It's going to be one of those cases of, like, you said this was going to happen and it didn't. Like, we're going to get mad about it no matter what. I feel like it's a lose-lose situation. If they go ahead with it, people are going to be pissed. If they don't, people are getting pissed. You like, unfortunately, they cannot win.
Yeah.
There's no way. There's no, there's going to be backlash no matter what they do. So they're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place.
It is this weird line where there is almost, you would presume there'd be at least a limited bit of understanding under the current circumstances, right? So why would they not, sort of go, look, under current circumstances, this is what's going to happen. But then again, they have to admit that the outside world exists and what those effects would be. So they haven't really mentioned that that Rey Mysterio is out for this reason, Dana Brooke's out for this reason.
Yeah, exactly.
They just kind of hit it. Now,
and this is what annoys me as well is like I'd rather them say like unfortunately due to circumstances so and so has had to be quarantined instead of like for instance when both Robert Roode and Andrade had their wellness policy breaches, they plastered that fucking everywhere. but they can't say, hey guys, because of what's going on at the moment, you know, so-and-so's had to be in quarantine, so this match will proceed without them, or it won't go ahead, whatever it may be. You know, I have seen a few changes, like rumored changes to the card as well, as far as competitors go. It's like, just be honest. Right now, all people want is honesty. All we want is the truth. Like, don't sugarcoat it. Don't. Just be honest with me. I'd rather you say, hey, you know, if they're going to go ahead and tell people about wellness policies, they can tell.
So Sam V's mentioned the idea with the whole card is subject to change being almost like, buddy, please.
Oh yeah, being like a free for all, like card subject to change means we can do whatever the hell we want.
Yeah, exactly. Which is it is not cool.
No, not at all.
Yeah, and I would appreciate if they were able to sort of acknowledge these little hiccups, but
Exactly right.
Because it gives them time to tie in this replacement for Roman Reigns. Like, you know, we've got a week. Like, how are they going to explain next week? They're not going to be on the day and be like, oh yeah, that Roman Reigns match, yeah, it's not happening.
Yeah. I suppose they've still got one more SmackDown to go, so they've got room to move with that.
But once again, because if we know that you know, these have been pre-taped, like even these episodes, my understanding, these episodes of SmackDown have also been pre-taped as well. Yeah. So maybe the reason they're not addressing it is because they can't.
Possibly.
Possibly. Well, that brings up to the end of the show as my kid sits here and proceeds to make a bunch of dumb noises with his mouth. Not talking, he's just clicking and making a bunch of ruckus. That does bring us to the end of the show. Thank you, Jem, as always, for joining us. Thank you, everyone in the chat. Let's get into that spiel. This was our Smackdown analysis. This comes at you every Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. on your podcast services, 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you want to join that wrestling conversation, head over to twitch.tv/thepopcultures, where you can watch us record this show live. That's the likes of Sandvi, the likes of The Mullet Show, the likes of Dash. Who else did we see here? Jacob as well. Mad Dog. Bunch of excellent people coming in and joining the chat. It's all awesome. One thing we'd like you to do is, if you're ever so kind, would be to share the conversations. Tell your friends, tell your family about this show. Maybe they can give a bit of a download and give it a red hot go. Craig goes, make a bunch of dumb noises with his mouth, just like his dad. Thanks, Craig.
Hey, speaking of dumb noises, I had somebody tell me today that you have an amazing podcast voice. Just putting it out there.
Pardon?
Yeah, a friend of mine told me that you, Ryan Betson, have an amazing podcast voice.
It's only because I've been doing it for like 8 years. So like I've had to learn the voice. I've adapted to the voice. So big thank you to your friend, though, whoever your friend was. I appreciate their very, very kind words.
I'll let him know.
You know, I have been practicing. I do attempt to get the correct pronunciations. Yeah, I did it very super Australian. That's the one difficult thing about podcasts, man. Is like the Australian accent is arse. It is so hard to really get the right correct words. Like, remember when I was
articulating?
Yeah, I reviewed a headset. It was the HyperX Cloud Stinger. However, Stinger. You know, it's very difficult to get that right. But anyways, look, I know it's right. I know it's a very rough time for those at home, but if you did wish to support us financially, and for those that still are, thank you very, very much. You head over to patreon.com/thepopculturist. You also support us at our merch store at thepopculturist.com/shop, where you buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. As we said, new tees on the way. So when this whole lockdown, shutdown is over, you could be like, hey, I'm gonna come out looking styling in some C quality podcast merchandise. But anyways, until we talk Raw, I'm Ryan Betson.
And I got pizza downstairs. Bye.
Bye. The Young and the Restless, the Pop Culturist WWE podcast, is fan support over at Patreon at patreon.com/thepopculturist. And we'd like to thank our Patreon producers and our Patreon founders for their kindness, their support, and their generosity. Our Patreon founders: Alpha Ferret, Craig O'Flaherty, David Chataway, Jesse Stevenson, and Jacob Garner. And our Patreon producers, AJ Abatomi, Damien Holdies, Kyle Dunn, Lee Wintershoven, Nathan Massetti, Paul James, Pure Mongrel, and Sean Levitt.